So Donald and your surname?
Porter.
Porter, and you work for Russia Today.
Yeah, RT International. Yeah.
Okay, I think I looked at it.
Oh yeah, you may have seen me in passing somewhere. I've been working there for a little while.
Are you the political correspondent?
Yeah, we have we cover a large range of issues, but I usually cover political issues. Yeah.
And how long? I noticed your Russian is very good.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
Well, for almost 5 years I've been living in Moscow and working for them. But I actually studied Russian at university.
Is this Russian good?
Yes, Russian is perfect.
Thanks.
Super.
Thank you.
So here they have this big meeting today, the Ukraine delegates and the Russian delegates, and so from what I read in the news, hopes for any real resolution don't seem to be very strong.
Yeah.
Do you share that feeling?
Yeah, I definitely do, because this is the fourth round of talks already after this special operation began in Ukraine and everything. The first two talks really came up with nothing. The third one, they agreed on humanitarian corridors for civilians. Maybe it was the second one, I can't remember either the second or the third. They agreed on humanitarian corridors so that civilians could leave the main centers of the fighting around, specifically like the cities near Donetsk People's Republic, Mariupol, Melitopol. These are places that have been seeing a lot of fighting, and basically, according to Russia's Ministry of Defense, actually,
They've been kind of silent.
Well, they said they opened up the humanitarian corridors for people to leave, and at the beginning, basically, nobody was even allowed to leave. They say actually the neo-Nazi battalions, the Azov battalion and right sector there, are not letting people leave. So this is the Russian perspective.
And I live here in Istanbul, so my Turkish students will maybe watch this. For Turkish people, what role can Turkey play in this process, do you think?
Well, I think what's going on right now is a great example of how Erdogan and the Turkish government is trying to basically play a mediator between the two sides, trying to, maintain good good relations with both sides of the conflict. There are a couple other countries that have been trying to do that as well, like Israel, for example, has really good relations with both Ukraine and Russia. So I think that's the role it's trying to play here, because Turkey from the beginning, and even before the special operation started, Turkey hasn't really taken a firm side.
And should the Turks have any concerns about if this is a long conflict, could it be the effect in here? Because the Bosphorus is right there.
Well, in terms of like military confrontation, anything like bombs falling near here, I don't think. I did hear about that. Yeah. I don't
drifted down.
Yeah. I did hear about their mines, right?
Yeah, the mines.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be any serious threat of that. But the biggest problem, obviously, is that the longer that this conflict draws out, the more the world economy is going to suffer. Because of the sanctions from the West, and Russia also recently, to counter that, said that countries that are unfriendly with Russia have to pay for oil and gas in the ruble, for gas actually. And it was only for unfriendly countries that are getting lots of gas from Russia and saying, putting these sanctions on Russia at the same time, but they also get tons of gas from Russia.
So not much is expected to happen.
No, the main thing that they're talking about right now, actually, it just started. Ceasefire. That's the main thing they're talking about. And there's several Russian politicians that gave different expectations. I mean, the foreign minister Sergei Lavrov said that it's possible for them to come to an agreement, but the head of the Russian delegation he's not very optimistic about it.
Right. Well, what does Ukraine have to give besides neutrality? If they say, look, we won't join NATO, would that be the end of it? Or they have to give don'ts.
Well, Russia's demands basically are that Ukraine becomes a neutral country. It doesn't join NATO. I mean, it doesn't have to be friends with Russia.
He has promised that, apparently.
He said it wouldn't become part of NATO. Well, he said actually that NATO told him in confidence that it would not, seriously considering Ukraine as a member state is not going to happen.
Right.
That they would only publicly put up this show that perhaps Ukraine would become a part of NATO to actually instigate Russia. That was something that Zelensky said in the Western media just a week ago.
But probably not realistic. But even if they just promise neutrality in these talks today and tomorrow, would that then bring about a ceasefire, or does Russia want more than just this assurance?
Well, Russia's two major demands, are neutrality and also denazification and demilitarization of Ukraine. Because the biggest threat to Russia and to the people of Donbass for the last 8 years has been, specifically these neo-fascist military battalions that have been indiscriminately bombing not the soldiers, but like the civilians in Donbass. I've been there many times. I saw for myself that they really are just bombing innocent people. And that's one of the main reasons why Russia even started the special operation, to protect the people of Donbass.
So they don't want the territory of that area, they just want to deal with it.
They recognize the independence of Donetsk and Lugansk, because these two regions actually in 2014, after the Euromaidan happened, they declared independence, and it was just recognized. It wasn't recognized. It just wasn't recognized by basically any other country in the world. Yeah. So, but actually, I do have something to add to that. Russia recognized the independence of these two people's republics at the beginning of the special operation, but the administrations of these people's republics are actually now saying that they may soon consider having a referendum to join Russia. So that's also definitely something that's possible.
Yeah, there was talk of Zelensky mentioned a referendum. Was that what he was referring to?
Actually, did you hear this in the news over the past several weeks? I think what you heard was about Zelensky calling for a referendum on Russia's demands. He wanted to put Russia's demands up to a referendum in Ukraine for the people in Ukraine to vote on his demands.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's a lot to swallow, and it's just hasn't even really started yet, has it?
Yeah. The negotiations, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to go very far, because I think the Ukrainian government's position right now is that they're trying to buy as much time as possible. They're trying to wait and see if they're going to get more help from the West in terms of weapons and money.
Are the Russians also buying time to see if they can continue their military operation?
I think the Russians are trying to finish it as soon as possible, because every day that goes by is more effective sanctions, more money spent on this war. The quicker it ends, and the quicker Russia can achieve its goals, the less costly it's going to be in terms of manpower and economy.
And I guess negotiations are always stronger if you got boots on the ground that are advancing.
Well, that's basically the negotiating chip that Russia has. Like, basically, negotiate with us, or we're going to destroy the rest of your military.
And cities.
Well, but there's a lot of controversy about that, because the Ukrainians say that the Russians are bombing the cities, but the Russian Ministry of Defense is also saying that on the retreat, these Ukrainian battalions have a scorched earth policy. They're burning bridges behind them. They're using civilians as human shields. We're really going to find out what happened probably after the war is over.
Yeah. Well, Donald, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
We won't solve the war today, but thank you for giving me some context. Russia Today. Russia Today. I was thinking Moscow time.
They're similar.
Yeah. I don't know if I have yours on my Facebook, but I'll add it.
Yeah. Well, we're like a bit blocked in the West.
Oh, that's right.
Special operation.
I forget. Yeah.
But you can actually find us on Odyssey. They're like alternative YouTube platforms, alternatives to YouTube. Odyssey or Ramble.
Yeah. The old proxy sites or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's still interesting to talk, and so you'll be here for the whole time, 2 days?
Probably until Friday, yeah. Unless they go on for longer, then I'll be here.
Yeah. Off the record, as an American living in Russia nowadays, is it comfortable? Have you had any problems? Because Biden and Putin in their war.
No, actually. I do have a unique position because I have tons of family in America. I go back there all the time, and I live in Moscow, so I see what both societies are kind of like. And it's not as much as in the UK, but in the United States, there's a sort of Russophobic atmosphere. Like, people don't trust Russians just because of what's going on in Ukraine. But in Russia, it's not that way.
I see.
I haven't gotten any.
A lot of Western journalists have left, and you haven't felt any pressure recently.
A lot of the majority of the ones that have left have been because they've actually had to. Because RT was blocked in the West, Sputnik was blocked in the West. West blocked our media first, and then in retaliation, Russia blocked their media and told them they have to leave. So.
But for you, you've been there 5 years. You got family there as well?
In Russia?
Yeah.
No. I'm actually just, my mom's Puerto Rican, my dad's Italian.
No, I didn't know if you'd married or settled down.
Well, I have a girlfriend.
Okay,
I'll
well-
probably be married soon.
All right, well, that's great. But
Yeah.
that's good to know that, for you at least.
Непонятно.
And what are you teaching in university?
I teach in the English prep program.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So helping them prepare. It's sort of like a prep program that helps them get ready for their real studies next year.
That's cool.
Because the lectures are in English. Yeah. In the States, years ago, I was working for a small newspaper in Northern California called The Standard. And I still do a bit of freelance unpaid. But so this project is a good way to combine my old skills and my new skills.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I do these little projects, and sometimes in the classroom we can watch and discuss, like little warm-ups.
Do they? Are your students really curious about what's going on in Ukraine?
Well, to be honest with you, that's strong.
Okay.
But because it is a university, politics can be sensitive, so I'm going to have to frame the questions in a way that's kind of neutral for the students.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Turkey hosting this big event?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not asking them to choose sides or, this sort of thing. Because it could get me in trouble. You can get school in trouble. You're fired for promoting the war.
Propaganda or something.
Yeah, for destabilizing the government. Yeah, they know. This is kind of a new project that we're doing, kind of like topic of the week kind of stuff on the campus, just to have a little conversation and buzz on the campus, and also get the students to practice their English and talk about issues of the day. But it's still kind of like in a pilot phase,
Yeah.
So, and me, I'm as a reporter, quote unquote, I'm a little bit rusty. So,
The pilot phase of program, I think, is the most fun.
Yeah,
It's the most experimental. So.
just turning the camera on.
Yeah.
I was going to try to get in, but of course, you got a press pass.
Yeah, you need a press pass.
Yeah, and my old buddy at the Lost Coast Outpost is not going to email me one. So, like I said, I still do a bit on the side. But anyway, it's just fun to do. My wife actually works at Innovation as a tour guide.
Is that the presidential residence?
Well, it's the palace over here. The big tour guide. Today's her off. So I said, honey, security.
Yeah. Well, that's
When I get home, I'll share with you.
Well, all right. It was good talking to you. I'm sorry I have to go because the
You gotta
press
get to work.
conference is going soon. Yeah.